What's going on, everybody? We've got a strong WNBA slate on the board tonight, and there are a few spots where the numbers, the matchup, and the recent form all point in the same direction. I'm going to keep this one clean, keep it moving, and give you the sides and totals that actually make sense based on the spots you laid out. Let's get into it. First game up, Chicago Sky against the Connecticut Sun. And this is one of those matchups where the records do not tell the full story. Chicago comes in at 4-11, which on paper doesn't look great. But when you look at the actual recent results, they've been right there in games. They lost to the Liberty by 1, 95-96, and then lost to Dallas by 1, 92-93. Camila Cardoso had 26 points and 9 rebounds in that Dallas game, which tells you Chicago isn't just rolling over. This team is competing. That's a big difference from Connecticut, which is sitting at 2-15 and has now lost 7 straight. This has been a long season for the Sun, and it's only made tougher by the fact that this is part of their final stretch before relocating to Houston. The energy around the team just feels different. Chicago already handled Connecticut once this season, winning 85-80 on June 5th. In that game, Skylar Diggins scored 24, including 18 in the first half, and Elizabeth Williams closed it out with clutch baskets late. That's exactly the kind of head-to-head result that matters here, because it showed Chicago can beat this team when the matchup is right. The injury context also matters. Chicago has been without Rickea Jackson after her ACL tear, without Jamie Keel-Carrington since before the opener because of foot surgery, and without Courtney Vandersloot while she recovers from knee surgery. That's a lot of rotation loss, including a major scorer, but they're still competing. On the other side, Connecticut has had its own issues, but even when their key players have been available, the results just haven't followed. They're averaging 79.2 points per game and shooting 26.4% from 3, which is not the profile of a team I want to trust. So for this game, my best pick is Chicago Sky moneyline. I actually also like the over. This is one of those spots where both teams have some reasons to let the scoreboard move. Connecticut home games have gone over in 7 of their last 10 at Mohegan Sun Arena, and both Chicago and Connecticut have seen 6 of their last 10 games go over as well. Chicago's recent games have also been pretty active. They had a combined 220-point game against Indiana, 191 against the Liberty, and 185 against Dallas. Even when they lose, the scoring volume has still been there. Connecticut also has some scoring pieces. Kennedy Burke put up 18 against Toronto, and Brittany Griner added 16 points and 8 rebounds in that same game. If Griner is working inside and Cardoso is active on the other end, that creates foul pressure and extra possessions. Next up, Toronto Tempo against Atlanta Dream. And this is where things start to get dangerous for Toronto. Atlanta is sitting at 11-4 and leading the Eastern Conference. They just set a franchise record with 113 points against Indiana, and they're doing it in front of sold-out crowds at State Farm Arena. At this point, you're not really asking whether they're good. You're asking who can actually slow them down. Toronto is 8-8 and 4-5 on the road, and they're walking into a really bad setup. These two teams already played 8 days ago, and Atlanta went into Toronto and blasted them 102-77. That was a 25-point loss, and it sent Toronto into a 3-game losing streak. The injury situation makes this even worse for Toronto. Brittany Sykes is out with a plantar fascia injury in her left foot. Kiki Rice remains out with a grade 2 left ankle sprain, and Niara Sabauli is questionable with a lingering right hamstring issue. That is a huge problem against a team like Atlanta. Atlanta leads the league in steals at 9.5 per game, which fuels the transition game. They had 23 fast break points in the first meeting with Toronto, and that's a big reason why I'm not looking to get cute here. My best pick is Atlanta Dream to cover the spread. For the total, I also like the over. Atlanta's last 3 home games have produced totals of 209, 194, and 186, and all 3 cleared the number being set for this matchup. That's not random. That's a sign of how they play at home. Toronto also plays higher scoring games on the road. They're allowing 98 points per game away from home, compared to 83.4 at home. Their offense also ticks up away from Toronto, averaging 93.4 on the road compared to 84.6 at home. Next, Phoenix Mercury against Indiana Fever. This is a really interesting game because both teams have shown enough to make people curious, but both teams also come in with some question marks. Indiana is 9-7 and just got hit hard twice by Atlanta, giving up 108 and 113 in back-to-back games. Before that, though, they had won 4 straight and were looking very strong. So the question is whether those 2 bad games were just a bad stretch or whether they exposed something real on defense. Phoenix, meanwhile, just snapped a 4-game losing streak with a 93-73 win over Seattle. That's the kind of result that can give a team some real life. Valerian AIA came off the bench and gave them 18 points and 10 rebounds. Naomi Brochon hit 4 threes, and Killia Copper added 16. Copper is the big name here, because she's been on a heater. Just 8 days ago, she had 41 points and 10 rebounds against the Sparks, becoming the first player in Mercury franchise history to record a 40-point double-double. She's averaging over 19 points per game this season, and she's clearly carrying a huge load. This is also the same Mercury core that reached the 2025 WNBA Finals, and they brought back Copper, Alyssa Thomas, and Dana Bonner. That matters, because this is not a team without talent. They know what winning looks like. Indiana has Caitlin Clark listed as probable with back soreness, and she's still producing at a very high level. She's averaging 21.1 points and 8.1 assists per game, and even in the loss to Atlanta, she had 26 points on 11-4-18 shooting. Kelsey Mitchell remains a threat. Sophie Cunningham has given them solid production since returning. Aaliyah Boston anchors the paint, and Monique Billings adds veteran depth. My best pick is Phoenix Mercury to cover as underdogs. I also like the over here. Indiana plays at the fastest pace in the entire league, and that alone changes everything. They're first in pace and second in scoring at over 92 points per game. Their home games have been flying over numbers lately, with combined scores of 220, 204, and 209 in their last 3 at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. That's 3 straight home games over 200 combined points. Last game, Dallas Wings against Seattle Storm. This one looks like a mismatch on paper if you only stare at the records. Dallas is 10-6 and 3rd in the West, while Seattle is 3-14 and has lost 10 straight. But there's more going on here than just the standings. Dallas has been inconsistent on the road. They've dropped 3 of their last 4 away games, and now they're coming off a 1-point home win over Chicago. That's a tight game, a physical game, and now they have to turn around, fly across the country, and play in Seattle on short rest. That kind of schedule can catch a good team flat. Seattle may be last in the league, but they've actually been scrappy at home. 3 of their last 4 home losses came by 5 points or fewer, so they're not getting blown out in every spot at Climate Pledge Arena. So for this one, my best pick is Seattle Storm. I also like the under here. Dallas may be the more talented team, but the schedule spot is rough. Seattle tends to play lower scoring games at home, and their offensive ceiling is limited enough to keep this one quieter than people may expect. So that's the board. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with somebody who's betting these games tonight. It helps the channel a lot, and it lets me keep bringing you these daily picks and breakdowns. And I'll catch you in the next one.